Max, you think Deshaun Watson can end the Chiefs' winning streak?
It could happen. He's really good, and the way they're moving the pocket for him and the RPOs, the run pass options that were discussed, it's working for him because he's used to it. They, again, keep it simple, stupid, right? They simplified the offense, and Watson is able to play in the pocket and make throws on the run. Andy Reid, you see the way the Chiefs have played so far. He's really not three guys, sometimes four guys. He's dropping everyone else into coverage. So Watson, even with a moving pocket, is going to have to figure out a way to beat that. And Andy Reid's also tricky defensively. He can switch things up. So I think the Chiefs are favored. I think they're favored for a reason. I think they're the better team. But they are going to lose some games this year. And the Texans, that's the reason I wanted to draft Deshaun. They're ready to win now. They have a good enough offensive line. They have an excellent defense. They got a running back. They got a wide receiver who are really good. And now they got a quarterback who's really good. So, yes, the league will adjust. He will not win the MVP this year or anything. But Deshaun Watson can lead him to the playoffs with wins like a win against the Chiefs. He could win this game.
It's interesting. I watch it. To answer the question directly, can Deshaun Watson end the Chiefs streak? Absolutely, he can. They're at home. They're not at Arrowhead Stadium. That's number one. Number two, Eric Berry is no longer back there in your secondary. Number three, even though the Chiefs are formidable defensively, what we have to take into account is, so is Houston. They're very formidable defensively. Even though they're ranked 17th right now, we know their defense is better than that. We know that J.J. Watt and Clowney could get after you, and they've got some cats in the secondary that can make some things happen. But more importantly than that, the success of the Kansas City Chiefs, again, even though their defense is formidable, it's been offensively. Not just because Alex Smith is playing out of his mind, but because Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, these boys can flat out ball. And Travis Kelce, this dude is special as well. I love watching him dance in the end zone, by the way, but that's a different subject for another day. What it comes down to is that if you're Houston and you can figure out a way to somewhat neutralize Kansas City to the point where you don't make their offense look like a juggernaut. My attitude is Deshaun Watson can find a way to get it done for you because unlike past quarterbacks in Houston, he can beat you with your feet as well as his arm. He doesn't have to throw the football all the time. He makes plays running the football. And if he can run the football, any quarterback can find themselves, if they got wheels on them, they can run the football. Because obviously you're dropping back in the secondary, and unless you're going to have a spy on him at all times, which is something Andy Reid is prone to do, then it's one of those situations where you're going to compromise the coverage that you have back there. DeAndre Hopkins, Bruce Ellington, and those boys, Lamar Miller's running the football out of the backfield. You can see what they do. But in the end, what it comes down to is that he has the playmaking ability to make Houston very formidable. Knowing Andy Reid the way that I do, Max, since I covered him for so many years in Philadelphia, he's going to try to put a hat on this boy all afternoon long. Yep. He's going to bring the heat. He's going to blitz. The problem is when you're going up against a quarterback who can scramble, that could cause you more stress than anything.
That could be confusing to the Texans and to Deshaun Watson because Reid hasn't been doing that this year, right? So all of a sudden, if he's thinking, I'm going to have to beat this coverage because they're dropping so many guys back, all of a sudden, if that's not the case, no, you're going to have to beat them by making very, very, very quick decisions. We'll see what happens. It's so interesting to me you bring up Alex Smith. Like, you look at the two quarterbacks, and we talked about this earlier in the week. To me, there's a spectrum of, you could put them on a spectrum. Tom Brady on the one end, Brett Favre on the other. Right, like Brady, who does Russell Wilson is in the Brady mold. Dak Prescott is in the Brady mold. Some of these guys more mobile than others, obviously, but don't make mistake-type quarterbacks. And then on the other hand, you have Brett Favre draw the play up in the dirt-type quarterbacks. Everyone's having fun playing with the guy, right? Alex Smith and Deshaun Watson are both mobile. They can both throw. Alex Smith tends toward the conservative. He tends toward the Tom Brady end of the spectrum, but not too far in that direction. But not this year. That's been the big difference with him. And Watson tends toward obviously the Brett Favre. This is so much fun. Guys like playing with him. He figures out a way to beat you end of the spectrum. But the question was, can he read the defenses quickly enough and make the throws accurately enough to succeed on this level? And so far the answer is yes. So the questions about both quarterbacks have so far been answered in the affirmative. They're being the best version so far of what you thought they could be, and it's a really interesting matchup to me from that point of view.